Hi, I'm Malessa.
And I'm Candice.
Welcome back to The Build Up, where we discuss the secrets of building wealth through real estate. Today's episode is presented by Brown Harris Stevens.
Today, we're going to be discussing a controversial headline happening in California and speaking with today's guest, who's a former NFL player, now turned farm owner and real estate developer, Avery Williamson.
So speaking of today's guest, Avery, and, he owns a lot of farmland. So it reminded me of this headline I saw, and this mysterious company was buying up a lot of land in San Francisco for years, and everyone was speculating, what are they planning here? What is going on? So it was a lot of controversy surrounding it. And it wasn't until recently that the CEO came out and, discussed a plan for all of this land.
So is this in San Francisco or near it?
It's surrounding the surrounding area.
And what are they planning to do? What did he say?
So after all of those years, he said that they were building a utopian city. So
what is this, like the Truman Show?
Exactly, right. It was very controversial and a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding it as well, because it is situated near the Air Force Base, right? So a lot of the local officials and residents are really concerned because they're scared for security reasons, right? And so they are now saying that they have the plan for this really big utopian city that's going to really be sustainable and green and all of this. And it's also going to generate a lot of jobs.
Well, that sounds mostly positive. I don't really see why this is such a big controversy.
Well, for years now, they've been buying up all of this land and they were willing to pay above market rate for 3 to 5 times. But
wow.
So now they're actually suing a lot of the ranchers for $510 million because they're saying that they were colluding to price fix. So basically, they want to charge a lot more for what the land is worth.
So let me get this straight. This big company comes in, they approach all of these individual farm owners around the San Francisco area. They're willing to pay them X number above what it's worth because they really want this land for whatever it is that they're planning. And then farmers sell to them and then they turn around and sue them for colluding to make it a more inflated price. I mean, that seems like very confusing.
Yeah, well, they're saying that while they were willing to pay 3 to 5 times more, they're saying that these farmers are actually colluding to charge more, right? And so now these farmers are now feeling like they need to not say anything because they're scared of being sued. So, it's one side is this big corporation, and then on the other hand is these farmers who don't really have a lot of resources. So that's a lot of the controversy. And like I mentioned before, they're also very scared for security reasons because they're saying that they have this big plan for the city, right? But it's on farmland and it's also right next to this Air Force Base. So a lot of people are even questioning the plan for a city.
But it seems like there would be policies in place that prevent this type of a master plan going forward without proper protocol and all of that.
There are plans in place against rapid urbanization of farmland, but it doesn't seem to be working because this one big company is coming in and it doesn't seem that, it's stopping them. So what sense does it make to have policies that are not going to stop it?
Yeah, and that's one side is the policy, but also what about the actual viability of it? Because this is raw farmland. There's no existing infrastructure, and we're talking about a lot of land. So how viable is this even for them to come in and convert raw land into usable real estate?
Exactly. And again, that's a lot of what people are questioning because it is farmland. Like you said, it's raw land and there's no infrastructure. There's no water usage there. So, but the CEO, he's saying that, they've done a ton of research. They've kept this on the wrap for about 3 or more years. So they're saying they've done a lot of the research and they're going to move forward and they're confident that they're able to do it.
It's really surprising they were even able to keep this a secret for that long, especially when you're buying up so much land. But that's good that it came out now, so there'll be more eyes on it. Maybe they'll be more accountable in their process. And so let's continue seeing what unfolds in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Exactly. I mean, it is good for, housing. There is an affordability crisis like we've been talking about. And if this is going to help alleviate some of it, you have to look at it as positive, but also there's some negative setbacks too.
Yeah, it seems like the locals obviously feel a little bit differently if they feel like they're being pushed out of their land. But I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with this.
Exactly.
All right. So today we welcome former NFL player and now landowner and developer, Avery Williamson. Avery, welcome to The Build Up.
Thank you for having me on. I'm so pumped. This is only my third podcast that I've ever done. Third or fourth podcast. Y'all don't do too many podcasts.
Yep.
Y'all should feel special.
We're happy to have you on, and we're excited for this discussion. You're most known for your successful football career with teams such as the Tennessee Titans, New York Jets, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. But most people don't know that you grew up on a farm, right? Can you share your experience growing up and how you transitioned from the farm fields to the football fields?
I definitely I had a little different upbringing than most kids in my neighborhood. It was definitely a blessing, though. The biggest thing was the life skills that it taught me. Being able to grow up on a farm, it taught me responsibility. It taught me work ethic. It also taught me, just to make sure that you're putting your work before, pleasure. And I took those skills with me to the football field. And I feel like a lot of guys, once they hit like a little hard patch in life, they just give up. And being able to be out here on the farm, I feel like it's really just showed me how much work you really have to put forth in life to really be successful. And the farm was cool, but I didn't like it as much as I got older because we didn't have everything that we truly needed to be successful. We were making it happen, but it was really tough. So it was really a blessing when I went pro and I started actually putting money back into the farm and making it, easier, buying equipment and things like that. And it makes it a lot more enjoyable.
That's the best feeling.
A lot more enjoyable, yes.
You spoke about going pro, and of course you of all people, but everyone has a sense of how rare it is for someone to go pro in any sport. And I was reading, and I was surprised at actually how low it is. It's actually only 1.6% of any of the NCAA football players ever make it pro. And you're one of those special people. And so, of course you have raw talent. That was a big part of why you were successful. But in addition to that, what else did you have to do and to really have that break into professional sports?
All right. I would say my breakthrough moment with college would be my freshman year when I finally decided to stop being a little baby and not wanting the red shirt. I feel like I wasn't ready to play, but I put in my mind, said, hey, I got to make the most of this freshman year, and actually pushed me and elevated me to get out there on the field and actually do some stuff my freshman year. And it gave me that confidence to know that I could play in the SEC. And for my professional level, I would say the biggest factor, my biggest break was the first game of the season. The starter, he got hurt 4 plays into the game. He tore his pec. And that moment I almost missed because I wasn't ready to play, was worried about too many other things, and I was late to meetings that week. I didn't know the playbook, and I realized that I might have missed my window. And after that game, I was like, hey, I'm actually going to lock in. I'm going to make sure that, I know the playbook. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to have a schedule. And after that, I started, getting out there playing. And then by week 5, I was starting. But that was really, those like 3 moments I feel like in my career really set the tone. And you have such short windows in life, moments that can really make you go this way or that way. Because I could have easily been like, you know what, it's all good. I'll be able to play the next week and just not taking things serious. And I might have got cut. So you have such a fine line between success and failure. And some people don't realize that.
Exactly. And I think also you mentioned earlier just having that work ethic of growing up on a farm. I think, just having that as your core, but also have that preparation and have a plan. I think that really helped.
Yeah. Like I said, having a schedule, you got to have a plan with anything you go at, whether it's farming, being a lawyer, teacher, you have to have a game plan and you have to, stick with it and execute it.
Exactly. And you mentioned that, just when you started your career, you were giving back to the farm, and now post NFL career, you actually returned to your hometown, right, in Tennessee, and you have a 95-acre farm. So what
Correct.
made you want,
115 acres.
Oh, you expanded. Sorry about that. So it's 115 acres land, right? And so what made you want to go back to Tennessee? What made you want to, actually invest in this sort of farmland?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because I was not planning on coming back to Milan at all. And just I went through a transition phase. You know, you play football since I played since the 6th grade, so I've been doing this my whole life. Never done anything else besides farming, and then you wake up one morning, you're done. And I was like, what the hell do I do next? And I literally tried so many different things. I was living in Miami, and I tried everything from landscaping to YouTuber. I did trucking for a minute. I owned a couple of trucks. I'm trying to think what else. I was even thinking about working for a financial firm. And my dad kept telling me, like, you're wasting your time. You might as well just come back. And I was just like, you know what? I made my mind up. I said, hey, if I'm going to do it, I might as well just put all my effort into it and, try to make it into something. So I decided to come back, started fixing up my childhood home. I'm going to move into that soon. And now I'm getting the farm prepared, trying to really turn it into like a very, very upscale business. So it's really cool to see something that I grew up with and just kind of seeing how it's slowly transforming into something bigger.
That's so awesome. And actually, can you share a little bit more about what it is that you're doing on your farm? Obviously, with any investment, the goal is to monetize it and make it profitable. So how are you approaching this farm and this land that you bought as a business and as an investment?
Yeah, so as you know, everybody eats beef, or a lot of people do. So it's a commodity. People, they got to eat. So what we have is a cow-calf production. So we'll have the mama cows, they'll be bred, they'll have calves every year, and we'll sell the calves when they get 7 months or so. You take them to the sale barn, and then they'll go to the next level. That's where they have the feedlots. So we're just like we're the people at the bottom that sell it to the next group. So that's what we do. And really my goal is to get to the point where I have my own line of Angus. So right now we have commercial cattle, and that's like a mixed breed. So they're black, but they're not thoroughbred. So it's not purebred Angus. So I've always wanted to have purebred Angus beef. So I'm actually in talks with another farm of doing some embryo breeding, and I'm planning to have some Angus babies next year, and we're going to just build it up and create my own genetic line, and just see how it goes. It's gonna go good though. I'm super pumped about it. So it's something I always dreamed about.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have the cattle business as part of the farm, but you're also working on an event space and a community center. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about what that concept is? Yeah.
So if you ever come to Milan or West Tennessee, we're mainly just Milan. It's not a lot to do. So I just was, I was thinking last year, I'm like, hey, the kids, they need something to do. The adults, they need something to do. I have a big name in West Tennessee. Why don't I just do something that is going to be a crowd drawer? I can, make profits off of it. Everybody can have fun. And I just started brainstorming different ideas and popped up on shipping containers on Instagram or something like that. I think it was probably on Instagram.
Wow.
And I just saw an ad or something. And it just sent me down a rabbit hole of research. And I was like, I didn't even know you could do all this stuff with shipping containers. So started going on Pinterest, Google, looking at stuff. And I was like, hey, this is what I want to do like some type of place where people just come, have wine and maybe have some restaurants and stuff like that. So that idea just kind of evolved into a bigger scale of, community, rental property, to even having, we're trying to involve a couple colleges around here now with the work programs and including, the ag program as well. That's going to be my main focus for the kids. But it's funny just how ideas really can just turn into something crazy. And yeah, we're really close to, getting that off the ground and breaking ground with that. But it's going to really be fun. I feel like a lot of kids don't know about farming and agriculture, and it's such a huge part of our lives because I mean everything that I mean from our clothes to what we eat is from a farm.
Exactly.
But majority of people don't know about it, so it would really be cool to show kids that really didn't take an interest in that, and seeing a black NFL player, I think that'll really kind of put a different light on agriculture, and hoping that it'll get more youth involved.
I love that. And I love the fact that, you were inspired to go back, not just, a big part of it is, having this cattle business part of it, but now you're thinking more of a bigger scale, right? How to involve the community, how to give back, and also how to inspire the next generation to even look at farming, right? And agriculture as a whole. I think that's very admirable. And for us, I totally understand when you get that, that idea that you just get so like really inspired and you just really want to make a change. That's the same way Candice and I approach business. One of us would come up and be like, hey, I just really got this idea. Let's talk about it. And we start brainstorming and it just comes all together. So we share that sentiment of how you feel very inspired. But, now that you're doing something that's brand new, right? Something that hasn't been done before, what would you say are the biggest pros and cons of the shipping container business?
Well, I guess I'm gonna find out. I mean, I would say probably the biggest, the pro of it is, you can do so many things with it. You can stack them, you can put them under the ground, you can stand them straight up. It's so many different things. You cut them in half. Like you have literally so many different options that you can do with them. It's a space saver. You can put it on wheels. There's just a lot of different things that you can do with it. I would say it's really not very, very, I guess in some places not as known. Mm-hmm. So people look at it like, shipping containers, they'll kind of look at it a little sideways, with, especially with like, if you're doing something in the city, zoning might, could definitely be an issue. But overall, on a uniqueness level, it's going to be an eye catcher, especially if you do it right. Mm-hmm. And the way that I'm going to do it, it's going to be crazy. So that's what you want. You want people to be like, oh, wow, I need to come to this place. I need to check this out. I need to see what it's about. But I definitely think there's a lot more pros and cons.
For sure. It's a newer concept, like you said, building with shipping containers, but provides a lot of flexibility. It's also a more cost-effective form of building with right now how expensive labor is and construction materials. So it's really interesting to see you kind of take this option and really bring to life something very special.
Definitely. And can you talk to us about the team of people that you've, brought together and acquired to really help you with this mission?
Yeah, you're only as good as your team, and it's really a blessing that I didn't do this last year because I was trying to do it, thought I had everything laid out, and it's kind of just went into the ground. Like later on in the year, I was like, forget it, I'm not doing it. So I circled back around with it in like late January, and I started to really get the right people in the right places. And
so important.
Because you might think it's like a simple job, but then once you start getting to the nuts and bolts, it's like, oh shoot, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about that. I was going to cost this much. So the biggest thing is really trying to avoid spending my own money for it. Attacking different grant opportunities, donations. It's so much out there that can be utilized. You just have to have the right people to go looking for it. So I'm nothing without my team because I got so many different things going on that I literally cannot handle all of it. So super glad that I have, a great project manager, a great person for zoning. I hired on a person to do my event planning when that time gets there. But everybody is working as one, and it's definitely tough you got to find the right mix because not everybody really gels well together, and part of business is you can't be married to people, you got to make sure that, hey, if it's not working, they got to go. It's just the tough part about it because, you got to keep the ship moving.
Do you have a name yet for this this experience that you're creating?
Yeah, it's called Studio 19.
Okay.
What
And
inspired that?
the reason why it's Studio 19, so in my hometown of Milan, my jersey number was 19 when I played football here. So I figured why not start it out with none of this would be possible without football. So I was like, why not call it Studio 19?
I love that.
I love that too.
And when can we expect it to open?
That's a good question. I'm just trying to take the first, shovel and dig some dirt up. But I really think that I'm hoping that's going to be open by sometime next spring. So we were like right on the brink of getting everything going. I'm thinking that we'll definitely be able to get it going by hopefully next March, something like that.
Awesome. We'll definitely have to visit. Yeah, we'll definitely
We're coming.
have to visit.
Definitely got to pull up.
Yes, exactly. And you mentioned that, in terms of financing this project, is it mostly, you said you don't really want to, obviously you have to put in a lot of capital of your own, right? Because you have to have skin in the game, but you mentioned grants and donations. What else sort of financing are you looking to acquire or even looking into currently?
I'd say the biggest thing is really of course I'm putting my money into it as well, but whether it's through the grants. Really the main thing is the grants and donations.
Right.
There's so many different things because even for like the agriculture, it's the government is literally giving money because they want people to learn about ag. It's such a dying thing that they're literally throwing money. They want kids to get more involved. So just things like that, being a minority business owner, being a minority, landowner. It's so many different avenues. My team could explain it better than me.
No, definitely. We totally get it. But in terms of, just giving back, you mentioned that you love to give back to the kids and education. And here at the Build Up, our main mission is really to educate and empower our community and how to utilize real estate to build wealth. Can you share how this real estate project is fulfilling this dream of yours in terms of your giving back to your community?
Yeah, really the biggest thing is giving people something to do. I feel like when you just sit around, I experienced that, firsthand. When I was done playing, I literally had no job, nothing to do. And you just kind of start, thinking of things that might not be as good, spending too much money or eating too much, drinking too much. So I just want to give some people, especially the kids, something good to do, an environment that's going to be safe, fun. Parents don't have to worry about, will anything happen. I think that's really my biggest goal. Why not put that kid in Studio 19 instead of having him on the street or in the house playing a game where he could, be in a bad situation, end up doing something he or she isn't supposed to be doing. So I think creating a safe environment and, clean fun. That's my goal. I
love that. I do have a 12-year-old son. So definitely, here in New York, we have, programs, but not of that scale. So I can relate to, your mission and really, just empowering the next generation, especially just not being in front of the computer, just not playing a game. It's just really going out there and just being a part of nature as well. And I love that concept. So I really do. I love that. And I know, obviously this is a huge, big undertaking, but it seems that you're an outside of the box thinker. You're always thinking ahead of, what's next. And do you have any plans for any other, I guess I should go back and say, do you see this expanding to be more of what it is currently as this current concept?
Yeah, no, 100%. I definitely, see this going into different cities. I think this concept is something that many places need. Especially in rural areas. That's what I really want to tap into. Places like, rural West Tennessee, they got rural West Virginia that don't have anything to do. Kids are getting in trouble. Drug issues, even adults, So I think that this concept is definitely something that will be cool, and it's something that's innovative and be fun. And I know that other, current and former players would definitely be interested in putting something like this into their hometown.
That'd be awesome to kind of repeat that with other players in their hometowns. And would you be interested in acquiring more farmland like you have in Tennessee? Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, awesome. I think that the biggest thing, especially if I'm doing this with agriculture, is going and actually doing this on a block of land where the kids can, they'll be able to grow stuff, be able to explore. They'll be able to, have the garden and actually get out there and not just look at it in the classroom, but actually physically go out there and do it.
Yeah, as you know, we're here in New York City, so the concept of like huge pieces of land is very rare for us. We're used
a little rare.
We have rooftop gardens. That's the most.
We're used to like 800 square foot apartments, but you're out there with 100 acres of land looking to buy more. So it's really interesting for us to speak with someone who's doing something very different than the typical real estate investor out there. Because at the end of the day, that's really what your bottom line is, and what you're doing so great is layering on different concepts of how to activate what's otherwise just raw land. And so that's what's so unique about this. And we love hearing that you want to expand it in other parts of the country. But outside of this project for Studio 19, is there anything else personally or professionally that you're looking to do in the future?
Yeah, so I'm actually had a just kind of out of the blue project that I started working on. So I'm actually I like 2 years ago, I've been in the football world, so I wasn't really paying attention. I, heard about a group that you could with, and I was, interested in it. I knew it made money, but it's a little bit too expensive, and I was like, well, maybe one day I'll, do it on my own. A year later, my cousin, he had a building, and he was like, hey, are you interested in maybe buying it? I went and he was telling me about it for like a couple months, and I finally went, I could do something with this. And just kind of started spitballing. Yeah, we definitely got to do a salon suite. And it's kind of, it's going to be called Wow Studios. It's so it's Williamson Street. It's Williamson Street right in my hometown. And so when my, it's Williamson. We're gonna be right on Williamson. Wow Studios.
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
So we got that going. We should probably be open up. We'll have some rooms. Luxury, high end. I mean, you do have nice places around here, but I just kind of wanted to bring like that outside, real elegant, elegance. You know what I'm saying? I really want, and just want to have a nice little taste and let people. I can think of my head and actually, create something.
Whole hometown, so that's awesome. What are you going to do next after that?
Real estate and utilizing it for different businesses. That's really inspiring too.
Thank you.
End of this interview, wrapping up, I think, you're very inspirational, like we keep saying, because you're thinking outside the box, but also these takings are not really, they're not easy and they're very challenging. No. And for some of our listeners who are tuning in, I think they'd be interested to hear about, what sort of advice would you give someone who's, now getting out of college or perhaps, thinking of their next move? How can they perhaps, take your approach and try to do things with their lives?
Yeah, I mean, if they have an idea, I would say just to make sure that don't rush it. Definitely don't rush it, but don't let people deter you, because I definitely feel like people can kind of shoot your ideas down if you tell them, and just to really think and research on your own, explore all options, because the idea that you're thinking about might not be as crazy and unachievable as you think. And I definitely feel like you got to just go after it. You got to try it. I mean, I saw the building, and I was like 3 weeks later, I'm like, all right, I'm getting it. Let's make it happen. Tell my cousin, hey, he's gonna put the crews together, get it done. So it's achievable, and I'm super pumped. It's just something that people categorize me as just a football player. So now I'm going into a whole different realm of work. So
now you're a real estate investor.
Yeah. I love that.
So don't let people put you in a box. And if you got a dream, you got an idea, just make sure that you hold it tight and you just continue to push it. Don't give up on it.
And I think what I'm getting is from this whole interview is that, a lot of people dream big, right? They think of big ideas, but a lot of times they don't ever execute on it. So how are you going to be successful? So it's really great that you're able to think of the idea, but also execute and just move forward. And I think that's really admirable. And it's something that we do all the time too.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir.
Exactly.
But what has been the most rewarding part of your real estate journey, and since you've become an investor and a landowner, what has been most rewarding of that?
I would say, really, the biggest thing is going to be. I'm not even going to say the. The self inside, like, oh yeah, I did this. That is really cool. But I would say really giving other people opportunity. With my salon suite, it's a lot of guys that are getting to highlight their work right now. And they're working their asses off, trying to make sure that they're putting their best foot forward, because there's so many people that are looking like, oh wow, Avery's doing this. Like, well, who's doing the sheetrock inside? Who's doing the metal roof on the top? Mm-hmm. So they're really getting to showcase their work. And that's going to bring them more business. So I'm really pumped about that. Guys that you wouldn't see on the commercials. They're getting the opportunity to make money, and I'm just hoping that I can build their businesses up as well as I grow.
Love that.
Well, this has been so inspiring and insightful. Thank you so much, Avery, for joining us today. This has been wonderful.
Yeah, and we're excited to see how it all comes together, and definitely we'll be coming down there.
Yeah, hey, y'all got to pull up opening day for Wild Studios and Studio 19.
Exactly.
Get your hair done, you get your micro needling, Botox, whatever.
There we go. That's perfect. And then we go right over to the farm. And
exactly.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.
This was
really nice. Thanks.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you so much, Avery, for joining us today. It was so fascinating to learn how you've transitioned from the football field to the farm fields and all the other exciting real estate projects you're taking on that also have a positive impact on your community.
Agreed. Great discussion, Avery. And thank you so much for being a part of our podcast today. It's really great to see the work you're doing, especially with your community.
Today's episode was presented by Brown Harris Stevens, and as always, you can find us at tower.com and on our social media platforms at Tower. Until next week.